Welcome to Waters Ironworks. We're going to be making a very simple project today, which is a marshmallow roaster. I get a lot of questions about what to make in order to sell. These little marshmallow roasters are great. They're cheap, so people can buy them without worrying about it hitting their pocketbooks too much. They are extremely easy and fast to make. I'll show you guys how I do them. And if you really want to sell them, if you've got a way, either with propane forge, you wouldn't want to do this over coal, or if you had a little fire, where you can sell a couple of these plus a bag of marshmallows, people are going to buy that up, right? Kids are going to come by, they're going to say, I want marshmallows. You're selling these for 10 bucks a piece. Throw in a bag of marshmallows with it, and these things will fly off the table. So let me show you how to make one. We're going to start with some, I think this is 1/8" round stock. I'm going to take about 30 inches or so of it, and we're going to cut that off. So let's open up the back of this little propane forge here. And I'm actually going to make one little mark just so I'm able to find this as I pull it out of the fire. Obviously, a hacksaw, angle grinder, anything like that, you'd be able to chop these up pretty quick. And if I was doing a production run of them, which I do from time to time, I'm certainly going to figure out what the fastest way to chop them up is. It's probably an angle grinder or a bandsaw, chop saw if you have something like that. So let's heat this up and then we'll cut it off. All right, we've got this hot. Bring it out, try and be careful with it. Got my mark there. Just cut most of the way through it. Any part that's been in the fire, I never like to touch that with my bare hands, so I'm going to grab it with a pair of tongs, twist it back and forth. I'm going to make sure this back end here is cool. And we'll put this back into the fire. Close up the back of the forge there. You never want to hammer with a hot cut in the anvil. It's unlikely you're going to injure yourself, but losing a finger or something if things go terribly wrong is a possibility. I like all my fingers, so I always pull those items out. All right, straighten it out, edge of the anvil, put a point on it, work it back a little ways. That point is probably a little sharper than I need. Are just going into marshmallows, so we don't need anything crazy sharp here. That's looking fine. I'm going to take one more heat at that and just clean it up. Realistically, this should be a one heat process. Make sure everything looks nice and straight. All the sides are relatively even, so we've got a good square. I think that looks pretty reasonable. We're going to quench this in now because we're done with it. And then we'll hold on to that, put the other end in, and make a handle. While that's heating up, let's take a look at the handle. So you can see all I've done here is flatten out the end and then looped it and made sure that my loop was hanging so that the top of the loop was centered over the marshmallow roaster here. You can get a lot fancier with this, all kinds of different handles if you want. Real easy thing would be to put a little scroll on there. But again, if I'm knocking these out and I'm trying to do a lot of them, keeping it simple is probably the way to go. I don't think I could charge more for having a little curl on there. Most people aren't going to care, so I'm going to leave it plain. I'm going to use a rounding hammer on the end here, just to round that out. Good enough. Back into the fire. You could do this next step over the horn of the anvil, and that's the way I'll do it to show you guys. When I'm making a lot of these though, I actually will use these that I got from Foxfire Forge, if I'm remembering the name correctly. Piece of angle iron, welded on a piece of round stock. And the idea is that you put these in the vise right up next to each other. You can drop this in. I think I did this side. And then just walk your way around it in order to get that. You can do that very quickly, faster than you can on the horn. And again, this sort of thing, if you're trying to make money at it, the faster you can do it, the more money you can make. So we've got it good and hot. Take it over to the horn here. Work my way around. So we've got it, but it's not centered over the fire poker, right? It looks a little weird compared to this one. So let's heat it up one more time, and I'll show you how to fix that. We've got it hot. I don't want to mess up my loop, so I'm going to come in and just quench that off a little bit. Come here to the horn, hammer back here, straighten it out a little bit. And there we go. And just tap that to try and line everything up a little bit, but I'm pretty good with where it's at. So there you go, marshmallow roaster. It should be 2 heats. Heat here. If you've got the jig and everything set up, it's probably 1 heat to flatten this, toss it in the jig, walk it around, get your handle. Very simple, very easy to do. You can sell these, like I said, especially if you can offer them with marshmallows and a fire where kids can make s'mores, they'll just fly off the table. So let me quench this. We're going to test it out. make sure it works. I like perfectly browned marshmallows. I think that may be a little challenging to do on a propane forge here. Oh. Looks great. This is a good project to do, especially if you've got to make sure to test it to make sure it works. The last step I would take before selling these, and I'm not going to show it on the video, is I would give them a food-safe, rust-resistant coating. I would take some canola oil, vegetable oil, something like that. Real light coating of oil on it. Put it in the oven at 350, 400 degrees. And that works just like your cast iron pans. It'll bake on a thin, not perfectly rust-proof, but rust-resistant food-safe coating. You can tell customers to treat it like they would any of their cast iron, and these things will last you forever. If they do start getting a little bit of rust on them, just scrub it off and reapply the oil and put that coating back on, and you're in good shape. All right, we got all the marshmallow fluff off. Quench it, and we're done. Very simple project, but a lot of times that is a good way to make money. You can make a lot of those much faster than you can a more complex project. Even though they sell for less, you'll sell more of them. So something to keep in mind. Thank you guys very much. I hope you found it informative. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments, and I will answer them if I answer them. Thanks so much.